Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I'm your host, your YouTube messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated superstar team, Vicious Rant. Gonna go over Raw this week was in the Performance Center. But before we do that, a couple of things do want to highlight. Now, was debating on whether to talk about this with the SmackDown's part, but point blank, just get right to it. They said it was announced through the Undertaker Last Ride docuseries, as well as this past Friday on SmackDown. The Undertaker's pretty much has officially announced he's retired, which means we have officially come to an end of an era, because there has never been a point in my life when, as far as wrestling wise, that the Undertaker was not there. Christ, so yeah. So thank you, Taker, for 30 plus years of entertaining me, my son, and my family, and anyone around me that ever sat down and watched me watch what you do. Now, on to other news. News did break over the course of last week that one Tessa Blanchard has been released from Impact, and I know a lot of people to this day still like to look at them and think LOL, ha ha ha, TNA, you know, because of, well, you know, given all of the run of bad luck that they've had for forever, you know, but all things considered, they've lasted longer than WCW and ECW, and, you know, they're still out there kicking ass, you know? Now, Tessa got fired. Nothing's been officially announced as far as what's going to happen with the world title. Michael Elgin's also finally been fired. Thank you. If you've paid attention to last week about, you know, with the speaking out stuff, I said my 2 cents about with that shit. Yeah. So now, other than that, let us switch gears, go into last week's SmackDown Rewind. And the big highlights from last week: 1, Nikki Cross is now the SmackDown number one contender for the SmackDown Women's title. Damn it, that was a botch this early into the show. Focus, man, focus. Also, there was the Taker segment that I did bring up, as well as Strowman issuing a challenge to Bray Wyatt, saying, let's take this fight back to the swamp where we're from. So the smart man, if you know on how to read between the lines, your smart man knows right off bat. That right there is just going to tell you that's going to be a cinematic fight, which I got no issue with. I fucking like the cinematic matches that they do, you know? It's something different, you know? And right now with, you know, all this COVID, lockdown, quarantine shit, you know, we need something different and something to look at and say, oh, well, hey, I'll watch that. Even if it's something that's completely out there. So, that said, now that we've done all that, let's get into the show. Raw starts off with a big brawl. Before the show even started, they showed Asuka and Sasha going at it. Samoa Joe in the middle of the ring trying to be peacemaker. Please, can we get some order in here? You know, they separate the ladies. Then McIntyre comes out. Then Ziggler comes out. And I give Ziggler a lot of props on this because, and I made this joke on my Twitter, you may be cool, but you're not Dolph Ziggler coming out on Raw wearing one of your shirts from Pro Wrestling Tees. Cool. That was a pretty cool move right there. I'll give you that. Now, contract signing came underway. Obviously, there was bicker and talk back and forth with each other. I'll spare you all the dramatics from it. To cut it down short, McIntyre said, I'm going to give you the advantage and let you pick the stipulation for the match. After that, then next thing you know, Asuka started screaming and yelling at Sasha. Sasha then stamped the contract. Then a big brouhaha brawl happened with everyone, which then leads us to it getting announced. We're going to have a mixed tag match, McIntyre and my future third ex-wife Asuka going against Dolph Ziggler and Sasha Banks. But before we get to that, we get to the first match of the night. It is the Raiders going against Garza and Andrade, and I will be the first to admit I fucked up. I forgot to mention that they attacked the Raiders last week when I went over the Fallout show, and I can't even blame any of the guys in the production crew on that because that one was all me. Yeah. But anyways, Raiders were leading, Garza, he was the punching bag. Andrade at one point tried to walk out, and then Zelina, who was on commentary, which, again, Zelina Vega, good lord. Every time I see her, all I can think, Aleister Black, you modern day Billie Kidman son of a bitch bastard. The modern day overachieving son of a bitch like Billie Kidman was. Yeah. So anyways. Zelina's like, whoa. Takes the headset off, goes over, starts yelling at him. Next thing you know, he comes back over. They come back from break. Next thing you know, Andrade's in there. He's back and they're working. Match eventually comes to an end when Andrade at one point hits that rolling elbow of his onto Eric. And then Garza, he does a blind tag in. Andrade doesn't see it and he's looking like, what the fuck? The fuck you do? And then Garza, boom, hits the wing clipper on Eric. 1, 2, and as they're getting to 3, you see Andrade dive over him to go and stop Ivar from getting the tag in. So, yeah. So they won. After that, we got, before that actually, I should say, damn it, try to get my shit right. Before this match happened, Big Show was out cutting a promo on Randy saying on how, with Rick being your mentor, I know he's the dirtiest player in the game and you're the Apex Predator and you're now the most dangerous Apex. But Randy, you took out 2 of my friends, I'm coming for you, this, that, and the other. And then Zelina and her boys came out, they started to tease and taunt that they were going to get Show. And then the Raiders came out, which led to that match. And then backstage you see Rick pull Zelina over like, Warner, can I talk to you for a sec? And then they announced later on that they're going to have Show go against Garza and Andrade in a 2-on-1 handicap. We'll get to that. Now, though, next match, we got Akira Tozawa, the leader of the WWE Ninja Clan, against R-Truth for Tozawa's coveted 24/7 title. And, again, and I stress this. I can't stress this enough. To everyone that wants to bitch and complain about the fact that, they have ninjas now. Really? Because, let's see, you also got 2 big, beefy guys pretending to be Vikings. You also have somebody who swears they're a messiah. Oh, and let's look at the competition now, shall we? We have one woman who swears she's an alien from the Andromeda Galaxy. You also have another woman who likes to think she's the undead. But yeah, by all means, feel free to break apart on how, they're having somebody pretend to be a ninja. It's not like any other 7 or 8-year-old kid that has ever watched any type of cartoon or fantasy show that had ninjas in it ever thought, wow, I wish I could be one, and pretended to be one. WWE, and I hate having to use this argument, but it's a PG show. It's a family show. So they gotta cater to a wide audience. They gotta do shit that appeases the adults, the teenagers, and the kids all in one fucking night. So get over your high and mighty bullshit on what you don't like. You don't like it? Guess what? Instead of doing a very, very angry podcast about on how you can't stand them, you know what makes a real, you know what really will do it? You pick up a nice little nifty remote like this, boom, hit the power button. Turning the channel, changing the channel makes a bigger statement than doing a podcast that's shilling and plugging them because you're saying you don't like it. Because I guarantee, for every 5 people that you got listening to you saying, yeah, I agree, I don't like it either for these reasons, you're going to have 2 or 3 that are saying, well, why? Well, let me check this out. And then it's going to draw more. You're not... Anyways, let me get back to this because I could do that all damn night and I'm not gonna. Tozawa, Truth. It was a short little comedy match, and it was meant to just be that. And you know, I can't get mad at this because again, you make me laugh, I can't get mad at you. It's a rule of thumb I got. It's a rule I have. And at one point during the match, Truth, he grabs his calves like, ow, 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 ow. It's hurting right there. It's hurting right there. Ref's looking down like, huh? And Tozawa's looking also next thing you know, Truth, boom, gets a quick roll up, 1, 2, 3, that's it. Next thing you know, one of Tozawa's ninjas goes into the ring, goes and tries to do an Akata roll, only gets a 2 count. Next thing you know, Truth then zips out and runs like his life depends on it. So, next matchup we got after that, it's an impromptu match, Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo against Murphy and Rollins, and this came to be because Seth came out to issue an apology for what he's had to do to Ray, and hopes that, you know, basically it was, trying to think of the right way to put this. He went out there, mega heel heat, building up, talking about on how Ray's the sacrifice, you know, the sacrifice that was needed and all that jazz. Next thing you know, you get Ray and Dominic on the screen. Ray says, I want to issue an apology too. But to you, Dominic, because you shouldn't have to do your father's fights, this, that, and the other. And then Dom says, I'm sorry because of what I'm going to have to do. And then, I wasn't a big fan of that part. But after that, Black and Carrillo came out. Black wound up going to Seth saying, I know evil, and I'm looking into those eyes, and I see evil right there. I mean, I've made the argument before, the best villains don't see themselves as villains. They see themselves as the hero of the picture, and that everyone else is in the wrong. But Seth, he had a good response to him. He's saying, you think you know evil. You don't know nothing yet. And then it led to an impromptu match. So, yeah, it was a decent match. Black, he was the punching bag for a good bit. Humberto got the tag in, and then he wound up becoming the punching bag. So, the heels were basically leading the match, you know. It was a decent enough match. I dug the shit out of it. I didn't hear one person scream any kind of foul whatsoever when Black and Murphy were in there whatsoever. And match eventually came to an end when Seth wound up doing the curb stomp onto Carrillo, got the 1, 2, 3, that was it. Next thing you know, after that they went to go and beat the shit out of Carrillo some more, and then gave him a curb stomp, boom, right on the step. And then Seth just hightailed it out. Next up, we got women's action. Peyton Royce, whew, good God almighty, going against Ruby Riott. Another heartbreaker. This came to be because Ruby, she was in the back, just twiddling around, playing around on her phone and shit. Next thing you know, the Iconics, they were teasing and taunting her like they normally do. And then Ruby said, tell you what, you bring one of you guys in there and I'll show you a match that's iconic. And they're like, oh, no, she did not just do that. So, yeah. And that was my horrible attempt to try and do an Aussie impression. So, you're more than likely never going to hear it again. But anyways, as far as this match goes, not necessarily one of my favorite ones. You know, Peyton, she led it. It was a short match, but Peyton led it. She got the win doing a spinning brain buster onto Ruby. Got the 1, 2, 3. That was it. And the main story from that, though, is that they were picking and poking at Ruby, saying on how she's a loser, her friend Liv's a loser, you know, and all that jazz. So I think they're trying to, you know, they're building to something with Ruby being, you know, losing and losing and losing. Now we come to the handicap match. I'm normally not a fan of handicap matches because when you have 1-on-2 or 1-on-3 or whatever, and the one guy gets the win, you know, it makes the other tag team look bad. But I'll get on how this match went. But Show at the start was overpowering them, you know, and they started to pick up a small bit of an advantage. But at one point, when Andrade did a blind tag to come in, shades of earlier, Garza, you know, and then Show started beating the crap out of him. Garza was just like, nope, it's your moment. It's your moment. And then started to walk off. Next, you know, Andrade turns around, Show, boom, choke slam. Gets the 1, 2, 3, so Show wins. Next up, we got MVP going against Apollo. And this was a decent match. It was a good little bit of back and forth before the break. MVP was kind of leading the pace on how it was at post-break. And, you know, I cannot lie. I dig this. I dig the shit out of MVP, and I fucking like his work. I liked his work back when he was, before he quit WWE. I dug the shit out of his work when he was in New Japan, when he was in TNA, and now that he's back again. You know? I'm just hoping at some point Samoa Joe throws down some kind of reference to like the Beatdown Clan in his commentary. You know, just some small little snide innuendo on it. That's all I'm hoping for. You know, I'm not hoping for nothing too big or fancy. But MVP, he got the win basically by doing a hell of a kick, and they didn't call it that, but that's basically what it was. And then after that, hit a Northern Light, got the 1, 2, 3. After that, next thing you know, Lashley came in, put the full Nelson in onto Apollo. Refs were fighting to pull him off. They couldn't. Cedric Alexander and Ricochet came in. They tried getting him off, then eventually doing a high fly drop kick to get him off, got him off of him, which then led to Lashley against Ricochet, and Lashley just pretty much powered over Ricochet through the match. That's all it really was, point blank. Ricky got some comeback, and at one point Lashley got his ear busted open. I think it was when Lashley had Ricochet up over his shoulders like this. He was getting ready to hit him into the ring post, but Ricochet got down and threw Lashley into it. I'm pretty sure that's where it was, you know. But yeah, he was dripping a good bit out of his ears, so. But either way, decent match. I dug it. Lashley got the win doing a full Nelson onto Ricochet, and then proceeded to beat the shit out of Cedric Alexander afterwards when Cedric came in to just check on Ricochet. My money is on that we're going to get Lashley Alexander next week. And now we come to main event of the night. McIntyre, Asuka, Ziggler, Banks. This was actually a fairly decent mixed tag match. I dug the shit out of it. You know, nice little start with the guys, you know, Ziggler and McIntyre. You're like, I made you. You made me. You made me. Wham! Slap the soul right out of them. And then next thing you know, when the girls came in, they had a small little tussle, and then they went to break, and then they come back. The guys were back in the ring. And decent enough match, you know. I dug it, you know. You know, Sasha, she starts to or actually I should say, Sasha started to pick up the pace after the break, and then McIntyre wound up eventually getting a hot tag in after the, and then started cleaning up house. And then as he's beating the shit out of Ziggler, Ziggler goes into the corner, tags in Sasha. Sasha just gets in McIntyre's face. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And then next thing you know, he's just like... Sasha turns around and boom! Kick right to the face by Asuka. Match eventually comes to an end when Asuka, as she's building up comeback, getting the momentum, getting everything going, looking like she's about to get the finish, goes, floats over, goes into an armbar lock, floats over, and then pops in the Asuka lock. Just as she does, next thing you know, Sasha rolls around to go and get the pin. 1, 2, 3. However, normally in these type of situations I get mad on it because I just think, why wouldn't Asuka just let go of the move? However, the way the camera positioned this time, you could see Asuka did let go and Sasha just had hands pressed down on her. So yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm good. So Sasha got the win. So yeah. So that is it for this week's show, folks. So please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes. Big thanks to my executive producer, benji, providing music for this show. Check it out. Check his stuff out. It's on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and such. Details are down below. Also, you won't want to use Ben shirt. Check out my Talk to the Man for you. Show him some love and support. Thank you to the contributor of the show, LFC Andrade, Fighting Championship. It's a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a whole lot of attractive women wearing a little bit of nothing. And also, folks, do not forget to follow these cool ass cats right here on the Twitter at Mulligan, Kenny Killer, DSB_IV, Diabolica RA, and Sergeant Curry Pants, who did get out of Twitter jail today. So make sure you send her some love, throw out some donut and K-pop tweets her way. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me, great, you hate me. Fuck you.